All right, check, check. Hello, hello, hello. Just testing to make sure you guys can hear me. Hey, Guru, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Check, check. Hello, hello, hello.
Yes.
Hey, if you guys can hear me, let me know in chat. I can hear you, but it's quiet. Okay. Does this sound any better here? Check 1 2 1 2. Hey, hey. 1 2. Check, check, check. Check 1 2. Talking again. See if you guys can hear me. This is a good level. Need to figure out how to see chat. Ah, here we go. Okay. Still quiet compared to. Okay. All right. I am further away from the mic, so that's probably why. Give me a second here. Let's get a bit better. Okay, I have to crank the volume up. Yeah, the volume is fully up in OBS and on my mic itself. More gain. Check, check, check. See, when I snap like that, it peaks, clips. Don't want to be too loud. I also don't know how much of the background noise you can hear. All right, here we go. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and start. Now that I've given about 5 minutes for people to come in. All right, so today we're gonna be editing the photo shoot I did of the Lamzu Maya from start to finish, and if you stay with me the entire time, you'll see it posted on Twitter. Cool. So let's find it in my raw folders file. Here we go. Okay. We got some older stuff here. I can't show you all of this because there's some fanatic stuff you're not supposed to see just yet. So let's just select the photos I took yesterday. Looks like we got... Oops, that's the wrong one. These are not part of it. Here we go. Okay, from here to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so it only took 14. I actually took a lot more than 14 pictures, but these are the ones I kept. So let's go ahead and import these into Lightroom. Okay. So the first part of the process that I go through is selecting the ones that are going to make it into the final rounds. And usually I only do about four to five. Sometimes I edit more than 5 or 6 photos, but you only see 4. So there's a lot of stuff that you guys have never seen with a lot of these other photo shoots as well. So, hey Chris, how's it going? Got the notebook out. Nice. Okay. All right. So yeah, first of all, we're gonna look through these 14 photos, and I'm gonna pick my favorites based on lighting, focus, and just overall composition and stuff like that. So go through one by one. So here I'm checking for focus, which my aim was to get the front of the mouse. It looks like I got the Lamzu logo and the side buttons. I wish I would have gotten the scroll wheel, but I think overall it's not terrible. Let me change these ratings back to 0. So what I do is I mark each photo 1 through 5. The ones that are 5 make it through the next stage. All right, let's see this one. This one might make it. This one looks like it has better focus on the side buttons. Let me see here. These files are pretty big. They're about 150 megabytes each. So it takes a while to load some of them sometimes. Okay, so I like to focus on this one better than I do this one. But I like that you can see some of them be in this photo right here. So what I could do is take it into Photoshop and put this mouse in this photo. We'll see. Let's just mark this one as a 5. Okay, and once again, check for focus, and you can see I got a lot of dust on here. This is after cleaning the mouse and everything, but you just can't avoid it sometimes. Okay. I like this one, but I got a few of these versions, so let's see. I don't like this one because you can't really see the front of the mouse like you can with this one. Is it in focus? Let's see here. Yes. So it looks like I had the focus point right here somewhere. It's fine. That's fine. And then the last one. I don't hate it, but I wish the mouse was turned the other way more. I like the shadow I create here with my hand. The shadow on the mouse. It looks kind of cool. Let's go ahead and star that one. This one I was going to crop out. This is a lampshade that I bought from IKEA. That one looks great. One finger holding the mouse. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's I kind of went for a balancing act kind of look, you know, like it kind of makes the mouse look light in a way, which it is. And this kind of tells me that when I look at the picture. But yeah, back to this one. This is actually a lampshade from IKEA. It costs like $9. So originally I bought it for a completely different reason, but I saw it in the corner of my eye and decided to try it for this one. So overall, this is way too bright, but I think we can still use it if I crop it a bit. Let's see. If I crop this corner out, yeah, there might be something there. Let's go ahead and mark it. Get rid of that. Library. This one's too bright, and the focus point is no good. Are you editing out of personal passion, or did you actually get to work with Lamzu? So this Lamzu Maya was sent out by Lamzu just for free. I haven't worked directly with Lamzu before, but I have worked with other companies who send me stuff, sometimes paid, sometimes not. Most of the times they just send it to me and I'll just take some photos, and just because I like it. But I would say like 95% of the time it's for passion, because I like doing it. I'd like the process of taking the photos and then editing them. Just like to see how it goes from like a really bland raw file to the finished product that's finally seen on Twitter. So yeah, passion. Chris, so I know this is more focused on editing portion, but when are you getting your shots? Is there a checklist you have for what you need to get, like this names? What? Oh, okay. So Chris is asking if I have a checklist when I shoot, I guess, mice. For mice, yes. I like to get a profile shot to show the shape. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. More often than not, it's sitting flat on a surface. But something like this, which kind of shows the shape here, is good enough for me. I also like to get the base if it's interesting enough, which all the Lamzu mice definitely are. And then any points of the mouse that are unique or stand out. Like with Maya, I really like the scroll wheel color right here in the plastic, how it's white. I think it goes really well with the charcoal gray. So I made sure that the scroll wheel spike was showing when I was taking this photo. And also the scroll wheel rubber itself, I think, is unique. So I wanted that to be a focus in some of these photos. But yeah, generally I try to give people a glimpse of the shape, try to figure out what it looks like, if they'll like it. The main buttons is pretty important, I think. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so let's finish going through here. This one's no good, so we will skip that one. This one, the focus point has changed to the top, and it is overexposed quite a bit. Let's see, I had it at ISO 100. Yeah, you can see on the histogram here, it is way overexposed, so I could probably salvage this by bringing the exposure down. Because I kind of like how it's sitting, but also I don't like that most of it is blurred out and you can only see the scroll wheel. So if I were to make this just a scroll wheel photo, I could probably crop it out and then just have something like this, possibly, if I want to do like a very tight close-up. We'll come back to that one. This one also overexposed, as you can see on the histogram. Not 100% overexposed, but it's close. All these photos were taken at f5.6, so they have the same. They'll have the same look. I don't hate this one, and actually, a few of these were taken by my daughter. I decided to keep them, see if I can use any of them, and I think this one was her. I really like this one. I can salvage it. Let's mark that one. This one was also her. She decided to put the mouse in the box. This one was also her. I like this one. I like the orientation. The background's a little bit busy, but I could Photoshop it out, possibly. Let's keep looking. Also her. Too busy. Too busy. 1, 2, 3. So I'll go back again. I'll do a second pass, look through, make sure I didn't miss anything. I really, really, really like this one because you can see my pants, which also kind of match the color. So, but it's very similar to this, almost too similar. And you can also see the Lamzu logo better on the second one. But I can also just mask this out and then darken it. Okay, definitely that one, definitely this one. 2. This one's too similar to the last one. Could salvage that one. Okay, so we'll just pick 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll just pick these 4 and go from there. And if I want to do more, I'll come back and yeah. Okay, so now we're going to go into the develop panel. And for those who are just coming in, welcome. We are in Adobe Lightroom right now. I just went through 2 passes of the raw files, selecting the pictures that I want to actually edit. And now we're going to go ahead into the develop module and start editing them. Okay, so I'm going to hide all the ones I did not pick. So I just wanted to show me the ones that I rated. Okay, here we go. So overall, this picture needs some more brightness. It's a little dark. And also it needs white balance done to it. But first, let me do some small adjustments. So I'm gonna bring the highlights down a bit. There we go. Shadows definitely need to go up. Bring the blacks down. And a lot of this is just a lot of trial and error. So you do it based on what you think looks good. We'll come back to this stuff later. Let's make sure it's level. Okay, pretty good. Okay, so now what I want to do is mask out the mouse so the adjustments are just happening to the mouse. So we're going to take this. Okay, so the mask did a pretty decent job, but it did get my finger here, so I'm going to have to edit that out. Subtract. I'm going to subtract that with the brush. I like that. Don't want my finger to be affected when I make changes. Go, and I just take a quick look around. Maybe right here. Basically just trying to clean up the mask so only the mouse is affected and nothing else. There you go. Looks like I got some bit on my finger right here. Boom. Okay, so I can actually add that back in. That took too much. Boom. There we go. By a little bit more. Sometimes this is a very quick process. Other times I could spend 30-40 minutes just making sure the mask is nice and neat. Okay. It looks like it missed most of the click here, so I gotta add that back in. I believe. Let's see. Let me add that with the brush. Yeah, it completely missed that click. So that's why it's important to look over your masks, make sure you got everything that you need. Okay, zoom out. Let's try to clean this edge up a little bit. Have you always had a strong attention to detail, or would you say this hobby has built that over time? I like to think I have a decent amount of attention to detail, mostly because I have to with my job, since I help create the 3D videos that you see from Fnatic when there's a product launch, and also any render. I have to make sure that it looks exactly like the actual product. So I kind of have to be paying attention to small details here and there. For example, with our latest mouse pads, when working with the 3D designer, you have to make sure that the texture of the surface is accurate, because people will call it out when they see it. And then that gets back to me. So yeah, I don't want to be yelled at for that. So yeah, you kind of have to, and over time I kind of have to take a lot more time to really pay attention to small details. And some things do slip through. Nobody's perfect, but it does happen. Okay, I'd say that's a pretty decent mask. Oh wait, this right here, let's see. That probably would have been fine. Okay, so now whenever I do anything to this mask, it'll only affect the mouse. And right off the bat, I do want to raise the shadows to bring out more of the mouse. And you can see quite a difference there. Too much shadow makes it look a little bit faded, which I don't really want. So I will bring down the blacks. And then I could even put in some contrast. And some of these masks, some of these edits sometimes are so subtle that you don't really notice, and you kind of wonder like why you even did them. But in the end, they do make a big difference. So here I'm gonna turn this mask off and then on, and you can see it brightened up the entire mouse. So I like that. Now I do want to bring out the Lamzu logo, so I'm going to create a separate mask just for that. And I'm going to do a select object. Oops. Try that again. Create mask. Select object. And we're going to target just the Lamzu logo. That might get it right there. There we go. Boom. That actually did really, really well. Okay. So we're going to brighten this up so it pops more. And we'll bring the shadows up. Not too much. Bring the highlights up. Bring the exposure up. And since the logo is gold, maybe we'll raise the saturation a bit. There you go. That's kind of what it looks like in real life. So zoom out. Yeah, definitely pops more, but it's still missing something. And I think the edges are a little unrealistic right in here, around these gaps. Let's see. If you press F in Lightroom, it'll give you a preview of what the photo would look like. Let's zoom in. This just really shows how much dust and stuff there is on the mouse. And I'll get to that later. It's probably the most tedious part of editing. Okay. Let's work a little bit more on that Lamzu logo. Let's see. Let's bring the contrast down just a bit. Bring the exposure up. I think that might be the way to do it. And just out of curiosity here, let me try some adjustments with the curves. So we want the logo to be brighter, so let's bring up the highlights and the midtones. Zoom out. Let's do it before and after. This is after, before, after. A lot of this is also personal taste. The mouse itself, the logo is gold. In the original photo, it looks like it's just a matte, I don't know what, ugly gold, but I'll probably come back to it later. Move on. Let's see. All right, let's start cleaning it up for now. Actually, let me see if it's balanced. I might crop it a bit here. And lately I've been really liking the 2:1 ratio for these shots. Let's see. Let's make it a little bit bigger. There you go. Now you can see my entire hand. And I want to make sure I have the same amount of space between the top and the bottom of my fingers to make it look even. Even though the subject is the mouse itself, it just gives the overall photo more balanced look. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like. I don't hate it. I think what we need to do is, unfortunately, cut off my hand here to give some more space on the bottom. That way you have negative space on the side and on the bottom. Let's go in a little bit. Don't like it. So with this kind of photo, what you can do here is add a logo or text on the left side, and it can become something you put on the website if you want to. Let's actually see what it looks like that. Something that I like to do when I'm editing is I look away for a bit and then look right back, and then I take note of what the first thing was that I looked at. And it should always be whatever the subject is. If you're searching around too long, then I don't think you did a good job of capturing your subject. This obviously is the mouse. That is the subject itself. And I think I don't like the 2:1 ratio for this one. Let's try one of these. We'll come back and change that later. All right, let's try to clean up some stuff. This is the visualize spots option right here. You can click this and it'll show you all the spots and blemishes and stuff on your product. And then when you grab the slider and go up and down, it'll kind of show you different intensities, right? And this is why it's also important to make sure you always keep your monitor clean, because sometimes my actual monitor looks like it has specks on it, and I think it's a photo, but it's just a dirty monitor, so just be aware. So yeah, this helps, but sometimes nothing's better than just zooming in and fixing it yourself. This is just a heal tool in Lightroom. And yeah, this is pretty much what I have to do. And again, this is after cleaning off the mouse. I have an electric blower, like a small handheld one that I use in between every shot, but sometimes you just can't get rid of every little particle. And again, this is the process that usually takes the longest. And this is actually the internal structure of the mouse, so you could just keep it, but I think it looks distracting when you zoom out, so we're gonna get rid of it. And usually Lightroom does a pretty decent job, but sometimes it fails, so you kind of have to work at it a little bit more. Let's zoom out and see what that looks like. Not good. All right. Okay, let's try the clone stamp, the content aware fill. That's a little bit better. Let me go. Now let's try the clone stamp. Oh, that's terrible. Let's try getting from this. Nah. I think the best one was probably the heel. Let's make it a little bit smaller. If all else fails, Photoshop's remove tool is way better than this. So we'll leave that for now. We'll import it into Photoshop. Let's keep going. We got quite a bit more to get rid of. And you can see I didn't really use this mouse at all. It was just on one mouse pad, not even during gaming or anything, just sitting there, and it collects so much hair around the skates. It's kind of crazy. There's also an option in Photoshop to do this automatically via the dust and scratch removal, but I've actually never tried that. So, yep. Okay, let's see here. Some hair right there. Just trying to remove anything that stands out when you're zoomed out. There's a big blotch right here. Don't know if you can spot it. There you go. Every once in a while, it's important to zoom out. Just take a look. This little spot right here is still sticking out to me. Let me try it one more time with the heal tool. Eh. Yeah, that might be better done in Photoshop. Let's see. Yeah, no, that's no good. So does what you're doing remove the speck, or is it cloning another spot of the mouse? It's essentially cloning the spot. So if I were to select a certain spot, for example, let me see. I'm sure I've missed one spot here or there. Let's just delete one, show you. So this spot right here, this little speck, what it does is when I use the heal tool is it'll look for an area close by that more closely matches the current area. So when I go to take it out, so it thought that this area here was the closest to how this area looked. And you could always move around the source. So I like to sometimes put it closer to where it took it from. And with things like these that are so far in that you really have to be pixel peeping, usually the automatic healing is fine. So yeah, if you were to zoom out, you would never ever see that. Just you have to be picky. Here's another spot right here. Actually, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. That's why it's important to do quite a few rounds of cleaning. There you go. So sometimes the spot that it picks, there might be something else in there. So I like to move it. Okay. There's 1, 2. Don't like this corner. Let's see if we can get rid of that. No. Let's retry this one here. Okay. This process can be fun, but at the same time, it can be very frustrating, especially if the product is very dirty or dusty. Some people really like it. I'm indifferent. Sometimes I like it because I like to see the process, but other times I just want to be done with it. Okay, the zoom out to 100%. Looks like delete that one. this line is part of the mouse, so I'm just gonna leave it. No big deal. Check my fingers, make sure there's nothing on there. Boom. I could use some help on my cuticles there. Oh, found a spot. What do you usually save for Photoshop? For Photoshop, I like to do composites. So for example, in this photo right here, I could easily remove the background and make it a different color to add some pop in the background because it's pretty bland. Actually, most of these pictures here are very bland. They were taken on a white or gray background. So I might take it into Photoshop, mostly to remove this area right here, because the remove tool there usually does a much better job. And I might even add some kind of color to the back here. I'm not sure yet. Might be a little bit tricky to mask out my hand because it's blurry, but we can probably make it work. All right, let's go back and let's look at the background. And this is actually pretty decent. Since a lot of the background is blurred, there's no need to really take out any of these spots. Maybe this one here, but not a big deal, I don't think, because you can't really see it. All right, so what we're going to do now is actually mask out the background itself. We're going to go back to the mouse, mask, select, and then duplicate and invert it. So now only the background and my hand are selected. And I actually might add my hand to that. So let me go ahead and do that. Let's do a object select. Just do like a rough outline of my hand. I see. Oops, I was supposed to add, not subtract. All right, let's delete this mask. Try it again. Duplicate and invert, and then so yeah, we need to add to it, not subtract. This will probably get it. Am I doing the opposite? There we go. Okay, I just had a little bit backwards there. Let's continue editing this here. There we go. Now this, let's rename it background. Oop. That way it's easier, and then we'll name this one mouse. And this is logo. Naming your mask definitely helps. So with the background, we're gonna bring down the exposure to make the hand and the mouse pop a little bit more. And you gotta be really careful here what you do. I think just a tiny bit. Okay. I actually kind of want to see what this looks like in black and white, so let's go back up. I thought about doing this whole shoot in black and white since there's really no color. But I do like the charcoal gray color of the Lamzu Maya. Nah, I don't like it. It could work, but I don't like it. Let's press F to see the whole thing. Overall, it's still too dark. And then you can see some of the mask spilling right here. Right in this area. So if you look, it's brighter around the edges here. That's because I lowered the brightness of the background. So let's go back and adjust that mask real quick. Just a tiny bit. Okay. We'll come back to that photo. Let's move on to this one. Right away, I can see that it needs to be cropped. There's a lot of negative space on the left here, which it could work. It could work like this, but I think we're just gonna take a little bit of that space away so that the mouse is more centered, but still giving it enough space to breathe up here up front. I think it's too tall. It's, I want to keep the hand where it is. Again, I want an even amount of space from the edge of the mouse to the screen on the side and at the top. So it looks like I might need to go up a little bit. Let's take a look. Okay, I like that. And then I can remove the wire here or in Photoshop. And again, Photoshop does a much better job of removing that stuff. Lightroom isn't terrible at it, but yeah, the remove tool is like a magic tool. So let's just try to remove it here. Let's do 200. No, terrible job. Let's try that again, but we'll start a little bit higher here. Nope. One more time. That's better, but you can still see a little bit right there. I could try to come in from the side. There we go. There's some funkiness going on right here. All right, so let's try to remove the rest of it. Okay, let's zoom out and see. Some funkiness going on right here. Let's see. Right there. Let's try bringing down the exposure. Okay. Here we go. Bring down the highlights so you can see what you missed. There are times when the remove tool in Lightroom is perfect, works well every time. Other times it seems to struggle even on simple stuff. So you really got to pay attention when you're using it. See, that was a worse one right there, so let's redo it. Let's try moving that source to here. There's still a little bit of splotchiness, but it's pretty much all gone here. All right, let's bring down brightness highlights just a little bit. And then right away I want to make a mask of the mouse. See, that was a terrible mask. I don't know why it missed most of the mouse. Let's try that again. All right, not doing a good job. Let's do a more refined mask then. Weird. I wonder why it does that. Okay, so what we'll do then is create a background mask. And then we will subtract the top of the mouse. Let me zoom in a bit. And then what we'll do is intersect this with the background. Not work. It's just refusing to add the mouse for some reason. So we'll just have to do it ourselves, I guess. What the hell is that? I'm still here, just concentrating. So just bear with me. Like I said, a lot of this is very tedious. You can spend quite a bit of time just nailing down even a mask like this. Alright, let's zoom out. It's not looking good over there. Bring the exposure down. There we go. Now I can see which parts I missed. Okay. Alright, let's try inverting this one. It's so weird how it doesn't select the background. I should. Oh, you know what? Here we go. Okay, so this is the background layer. And this is the mouse. So this is the one that I want to bring up just a bit. Let's get rid of this. I don't know what the hell this is. What the hell happened here? Let's try that again. Terrible. Let's see right here. That spot doesn't even show up. Look at that. Right here. Can't see it, really. Boo. Get out of here. There you go. Let me see what would look like if I raise the blacks here. Let's bring the shadows down a bit. You kind of lose a little bit of texture. Let's see. Press F. Okay, I don't hate it, but let's bring the highlights down. Let's bring this down a bit. Nah, doesn't look good. And then what we'll do is there we go. We will bring the clarity up to get some more definition to the mouse in my hand. Same thing with the texture. And then we'll bring down the dehaze. Actually, I think on this one the dehaze might look good when it's up, and then we'll bring the shadows down a bit more. Okay, let's try. Just look at that. Let's check the overall brightness on the histogram here. Okay, so we're not clipping on the highlights or the shadows, so that's good. So this is a good brightness right here. But I'm not happy with how there's no separation from the background here. So let's try raising the clarity. I think overall it's too bright. Let's bring it down. Let's bring down everything. There we go. Bring down the highlights a little bit more. Actually, let's go back on the brightness. Bring up the shadows a bit. Contrast up. Okay, I like that a little bit more. We might need to get rid of this background or add something to it. So let's go ahead and take this one into Photoshop. Let's see what we can do. The PC is struggling right now. Man, it's because these files are so huge. All right, so what I'm thinking about doing here is adding a colorful stripe behind the mouse to add some more separation from the background. Because right now, if you look up here, it kind of blends in. You can't really see the hard edge. So let's try doing something in Photoshop. We're gonna go edit in Photoshop 2024. All right, now that we're here in Photoshop, let's go ahead and duplicate the layer, Control J. We're going to select the subject. Wow, that did a really decent job. Just a little bit of a spot right up here. Let's add the whole scroll wheel up here. Well, let's see. I think in general, missed this spot right here. I think in general we can expand the selection. Let's see. Yeah, so let's expand it by, let's do 10 pixels. Let's contract by 3. Okay. And we can refine this selection later. So now that we've masked it out, let's go ahead and mask out this layer. Then we will create a shape. Let's do maybe something like this. And then we'll color I'll color it. What's the Lamzu color? Do they have a color? Is it like a blue? Probably. Let's go something like that. We'll put this in between the layers. Okay. Oh, and you can see where the mask did not do very well. There. Let's distort this. Distort. We'll go to corner. Actually make it a little bit bigger. I'm not really sure what the Lamzu color, official color is, but we're just gonna go with blue for now. Yes, that's fine. Maybe something like that. Go back into this layer here and just mess with it a little bit more. We're gonna shift the edge. See what that looks like. And we got some work to do right here. I guess what we'll do is feather the mask. And then smooth it out. Okay. We'll add in this part of the mouse using the brush tool. Just hit OK for now. So go into the mask, select the brush tool. Let's zoom in. Black hide, white reveals. So we want to reveal that part of the mouse. Actually, let's bring down the flow a bit. And also the opacity. Okay. Let's try changing the shape of the rectangle, or the shape here. Transform skew. Maybe like a let's try duplicating this. See what it looks like. Duplicate it one more time. I don't like it on my hand. Let's just do one stripe. Ah. I do not want a stroke on it. Thank you very much. Now, to make the shape look like it's part of the background, let's try lowering the opacity a bit. Also convert it to a smart object and add some grain to it. And we can do that using the camera raw filter. So to explain that real quick here, if you take a look at the original background of the photo, you'll notice there's some grain to it. But then if you go to the shape, it is, there's no grain to it. Well, there is a little bit because it's there we go. Let me see. What did I? There we go. Okay, cool. So yeah, we're gonna add grain to the shape itself to better match with the background. You can probably see it here. Background has grain. The blue shape doesn't have anything really. So we're just going to help that. So we're gonna go here, filter, camera raw filter, and we're gonna add some grain to it. And you're gonna have to come in here and adjust it. Zoom in and see. So I would say it might be a little too much. So let's go back in, bring it down. Let's do 14. What that looks like. Kinda. Okay. Okay, and let's see what it looks like with a little bit of blur. Filter. Blur. Just around the edges. Let's leave it like that. I don't like the way the mouse looks right here. Let's go back into the mask. Select B for the brush tool. Black hides, so let's hide a little bit of this blurriness going on here. There we go, it's a little bit better. And since we're in Photoshop, let's do the cleaning up here of the remaining spots. So we'll use the removal tool. Now we bring that way down. We'll mark everything at once. Okay, there we go. Remove most of the stuff. Who needs a name trim? You can just do this. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Who needs it? You know what would be cool? If these buttons were the same color as the background. Nah. Okay. Okay. Overall, not really sure how I'm feeling about the stripe. I think it adds a little bit to it. I think. Let's go ahead and save it, and then we'll go back to it later because we got to get back to the other photos. This should save it in Lightroom once it gets to 100% here. And then if I go back in Lightroom, it'll pop in right here. There we go. Okay. And actually, let's do a different version of this. We'll do a solid color. We'll do like another blue. And then add a gradient. Let's do something like that. Radial. Clip it. Actually, not blue. Let's do a different color. Cancel that one. Nah, this one doesn't look good. We'll keep this one. Okay. Let's see. This is the one without it. This is the edit. This one, way too bright. Even though it's not clipping it. Oh, yeah, it is clipping. There it is. So let's bring down the brightness. There we go. Let's crop it. Jeez. So the mouse, I think, bring the shadows up a little bit more. Just a tiny bit. I think overall, the white balance needs to be adjusted. This is pretty neutral. A little too warm, I think. Let's make it cooler. There you go. Okay. This is what we'll do. We will add in a linear gradient. From the bottom, and then subtract the subject. Okay, and we'll bring the brightness down. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Delete that mask. Let's try a radial gradient. So far out of these photos, I'm only liking 2 of them. The first one, which I'm not really sold on, and then the second one, which I haven't decided if I like that blue stripe or not. And then this one, but it's super overexposed right here. Let's see what I can do. Go ahead and select the subject right away. See how well it does. No. Completely missed that one here. Okay, let's hide it. And let's bring down exposure. And then the highlights. Let's try to do that one more time. Object. Select. That's even worse. Okay, we'll just have to add the rest in with a brush. Set this back to, let's do 300 fit. And here you can see fingerprints on the mouse here. That could have been either me or my daughter. anyways, it's too late now. I'm actually considering redoing the whole shoot because I'm not really 100% happy with any of these. What happens a lot with me is I'll do a shoot and I get enough photos, and then when I bring it into the editing software, I realize I don't like them at all. And that actually happens quite a bit. That's why sometimes there's a long time in between my uploads. There's like a lot of products I've taken pictures of but never uploaded because I wasn't happy with the results. And this may be a reshoot, I think. All right, let's subtract using a brush now. Okay, that might be as good as I can get it. So let's bring up the color and temperature of the mouse itself using shadows. How many did you say usually take? When I do a photo shoot, it really depends. Typically, I think on average, I take about at least 50 shots, at least. There are times where if I have an idea in mind and I am sure I can replicate it, I can probably get it done in a lot less. But then there are times where I'm just given a product with no direction or anything like that, and I don't have any inspiration or direction. And then that could get up to 300, 400 shots for me to get maybe 5 or 6 that I really like that move on to the next stage. So again, to recap, if I like the product and I have an idea of what I'm going to do with it, about 50 average. And from those 50, I narrow it down to 4. If I don't really care much about the product or I'm not inspired by it at all, I have to take about 3 to 4, maybe 500 shots. Alright, so according to the histogram, I am clipping on the shadows somewhere. Probably down here, I'm assuming. But I think that's okay. What this mask needs, though, is a little bit of adjustment here. Let's see, just because of this fingerprint alone right here, I would scrap this picture. Yeah, I'm not really happy with it. I can try to get rid of it with this, but it just won't look good. And then I just noticed that this thing is here. Let me try to salvage it. That might be what was on the other picture as well. Okay, that's not terrible. Not terrible. Okay. I can deal with that. That's not bad. That's not bad. There is a line that starts right here. Okay. See if I can get this edge right here. See what that looks like. Scroll wheel super dirty. That needed to be cleaned up. I'm actually gonna have to, unfortunately, end the stream soon. So I did not anticipate this to take so long. And I got things to do. So I don't think you will be able to see this on posted on Twitter. Actually, you might not even see this at all. Overall, just not happy. Not happy with it. Let's see, maybe I'll post this, maybe this. Maybe I'll throw a filter on top of. This might actually look good in black and white. Let's see. Yeah. Maybe a I like the flat profile. Yeah, I think black is the way to go with this one here. Flat, yep. And then let's bring the shadows up a bit. Contrast up. Texture up. It's too bright on this side. Let's try a mask. Let's do a linear gradient coming in from the side. Just to lower that a bit. Crop it. I want to keep all of the shadow in here, so let's oof. That scroll wheel looks terrible. Nope. Okay. Oh man, this is no good. But I learned a lot, so thanks. Oh yeah, no problem. I'm definitely gonna be doing another one of these, but this time be a little bit more prepared because after I took the photos, I didn't really give them a good look to see if they were any good. So yeah, I'm not really happy with it. I'm just gonna export these anyways because they often look better after they've been exported anyways. So this I think is actually, let's bring the temperature down on this one. I think it's too yellow. There we go. That's better. So the same thing with this one. Just a little bit more cooler temperature. Okay, and you know what? I think this might actually look nice with a linear gradient dark coming up from the bottom. Or maybe even a radial. I guess it kind of makes it look like there's a spotlight coming from the top. So what I can do here is add another radial gradient, really sharp one. Kind of like that, and then bring the exposure just a tiny bit up. And then the dehaze. And intersect it with, or subtract it, I should say, subtract it from the subject. Maybe not. Maybe I like it a little bit on the mouse there. Let's see, let's adjust the like that. Yes, let's subtract the subject. And then what I'll do is select the subject, intersect with a linear gradient. Other way, oops. Intersect with a linear gradient. Okay, and then we will bring the shadows up. And then this could use some grain overall. Do like a, I think medium looks a little bit excessive, but let's see what light looks like. Okay, I think light looks decent. Yeah, what grain also does is it hides some of the defects from like the mask that I did in Photoshop, and it helps blend the whole thing together as well. So actually I kind of like how this one came out. Yeah, I'll keep this one. I'll post this one. And then I'll do these two. Let me change the crop of it. Let's go back to a 2x1. One more time. This. Let's add another radial up here to make it look like there's light coming from up here. Something like that. And then we're gonna go bring the exposure up. Bring the dehaze down. Subtract the subject. Okay. And then we will do another mask in the bottom corner. So subtract the subject and then lower exposure. And then also okay, so I think you know what? Let me take this one into Photoshop. Okay, and then let's zoom in here. Look at that. So much better here. So much better. There we go. That looks good. That looks good, good, good. Okay. Okay. Let's save that. So once this is done, there it goes. Let's add grain, just like the other one, to hide some imperfections. And this one, let me see what this one looks like in black and white, because it might be a good candidate too. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Oh man, black and white is like easy mode sometimes. I like this one because of the contrast between the mouse and the hand and the background. Yeah, I like that a lot. Black and white flat. I think the Lamzu logo needs to pop a bit though. So let's try to make it brighter. Should select it. Okay. Bring the shadows up or down, I guess. There we go. A little bit clear. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. Yes. I like that. Okay, so out of this whole session, I'm gonna keep 2 photos. I'm gonna take this one and this one. Go ahead and export those. Products. This is. Do I not have a Lamzu? Am I? Interesting. Huh. I swore I had a Lamzu folder. Where the hell did I put the Atlantis Mini? Interesting. Okay, I guess I don't have a Lamzu folder. That's crazy. I put it in there. We'll name it Maya. What? There we go. Okay. Product Lamzu Maya. Let's do Lamzu Maya. JPEG 100. Export. All right. So out of 50 photos, I was happy with 2. Okay, and then they look way different once you export them. So let's take a look. Okay. Okay, good. Okay. Not entirely happy with the results, but it's better than nothing. So I'll go ahead and post these on Twitter now. So with that being said, if you have stuck with me this entire time, thank you for being here, and make sure to leave a like on these photos on Twitter. All right, next one, I do plan to do maybe another one of these. So next time I'll have more of a plan and a vision for the mouse. Sometimes I do, other times I just do it randomly. I don't have a plan. I just go with the flow. So, yep. Once again, thanks for joining, and I will see you guys later.